Guys, we're playing 10 past 3, match 5 against FPJ.
Iceni!
We got what? 10 past 3, we got an hour and 40. I believe what God means right to the heart.
Welcome back to EUCF here in Carole, Italy, on what has cleared up to be a nice setting for a showdown between a Belgium side versus an English team. We have Gentle Ladies out in green versus Iceni in the white strips. Both teams have come through a tough battle to get here today. Both not having the best start to this tournament. Iceni went down 3 games yesterday and only managed to win their second game against 3SB, but all tight fought games with less than 3 margins each side. Gentle Ladies unfortunately lost all of their games leading into this one, and this is their final pool play against the London Ladies. So we're off with a big pull, and Iceni miscommunicate with the pickup. Gentle Ladies start out with a tight defense, looking to swing it. They reset in the middle. Back and forth, they're stuck in their end zone. This is a dangerous part to be in. This Gentle Ladies defense has set up strong. The best way to start the beginning of this game. Putting on quite a loose zone, trying to stop all of the options downfield, and it's really working for them straight away. It's not often you see a team start out in zone quite like this, but they've clearly honed it. Iceni managed to get it out into a safer territory as they huck it long. But a Gentle Lady picks it up. And they manage to get it back. Centering it off the sideline now. They look to swing. And there was a pick called on field. So we get back into play whilst my co-host colleague Hannah Pendlebury sets herself up after the most nail-biter of a game, and I look forward to hearing her highlights when she's all ready. But before we can even get to that game, we see a big huck into the back end and scooped up by Gentle Ladies. They've got the break.
Wow, oh my, I am emotional. So emotional that I thought women's pool play was over and we were advancing to semi-finals, but no, we weren't.
It does feel like you should be in semi-finals right now. It's so late in the day, but you know, with such a beast of a pool play, these women, this is their final game of the day in this pool. And so, you know, I was explaining earlier before you came here, Hannah, both sides haven't had the best start to this tournament, and they're in a bit of a pickle now where they're not going to make it to the top 4. They're going to have to play off now for the bottom half of the brackets.
Yes, indeed. Gentle had certainly put themselves into the worst hole, considering they had a record of 3 losses for 3 games yesterday. Didn't quite manage to muster much magic against the likes of 3SB, Heidelberg and Cosmic Girls, who, of course, sorry, no, not Cosmic Girls, Cosmo even. No, cosmic. Sorry. Confusing myself. I'd written my notes in something, a little bit of shorthand. So, Iceni on the disc, having already been broken by Gentle. This game is all about giving yourselves a better record, hoping for good placement as you play for those lower spots. No medal, though, for either side here on the field. As we see the disc going awry. And behind one of the newer players to this Iceni roster. As I pull up my new cheat sheets for this game. Nice big explosion out of the arm cannon. Oh, that's a big reception, but also a big hit afterwards. Not really sure how I feel about that defensive effort. As the North American swoops in, uncontested foul, unsurprisingly. And they see. So uncontested foul will be on the goal line. I don't know if there's probably an argument there for the disc being stripped out by the foul. Looks like number 50 has good possession of the disc. As Claire Sharman bumped in. There we go. I've pulled up my roster now. I know who the newbies are, but Claire Sharman coming across from the States, new to this Iceni outfit. Joined also by Maya Lindrut of the Eurostars tour, fellow Eurostar as well. Lovely Amelia Kenneth. Maya Lindrut's joining for the qualification series of this Iceni team. Oh, and there's a big layout from Lucy Barnes to earn the disc back after the earlier error for the team in white. Sophie Wharton to Sharman. Back to Thompson, formerly of Leeds fame, one of the founding members of London club team Sick, to try and avoid playing for Iceni. Eventually decided couldn't quite beat them, so did have to join them. Such a veteran of the sport, gives so much to the community back home, and opens up that big arm to Sharman, and there is the goal for Iceni. They put their first on the board here.
Yeah, brilliant way to come back from that. Iceni composing themselves, and just a big block. That's the type of play you're going to see from them, hopefully, in this game. You know, those huge layout blocks. As we just watch that replay, just the read on that, you know, you have to really know what you're doing. You have to cover your own player, but to be able to see that disc coming through and tap that away takes such incredible skill.
And we just saw in the previous match I covered, lefties being used to great effect, and you see the big open up of that backhand, the release point available, sneaking it past the mark, who I'm sure is probably used to marking those right-handed dominant throwers.
Hannah, what's really interesting about this Iceni side is, you know, their past is so strong. Their history is riddled with gold medals and second place seat and, you know, even third place in not just EUCF, but so many different tournaments. But this year something has changed, and it's a slightly different look to this team as well. They've got, you know, fantastic new players on their roster, but what is it that's broken them this year?
Oh, broken them.
Well, yeah, broken is a tough word. What has not given them the best?
It's been a refreshing year for Iceni. They've had a number of years where perhaps people have gone and left for other teams. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, though, because that is a sensation of a put worth talking about. Naomi Nurs with the grab, but what a launch. Gentle ladies using the hut game, showing us early that they've got the props to put the disc deep. Quite unlike their under-24 side, though, I have to say. I had the pleasure of calling 3 of the games at under-24s for the Belgian ladies, their first ever Belgian women's team to appear at that level, and they definitely didn't have quite the hucks that are being displayed. So if you're on that, from that team and watching this match, watch and learn. That is how you loz it into the end zone.
Loz it, I love that word.
Well, you get me. You understand me, Hilary. As an Aussie, you understand the slang of the Brits and you appreciate it, for which I am eternally grateful.
You're welcome. Hannah, there are 2 19 players on the, or 19 strip shirt players on Gentle Ladies. Do you know from your experience who they might be?
I recognize the name Katharina Meisel. I believe she's an Austrian. So she's snuck onto the roster. I say sneak. I'm sure they know she's aware. They have told us she's playing with them. But yeah, Katharina Meisel, I believe she may have actually called a game with me at some point. Don't quote me on that. My brain is a little flustered after the universe point finish. But I tell you what, my good friend Kim Isaac there in the double neon yellow gloves, also looking a little bit flustered on that pass, throwing behind her intended target. Going to use those big gloved palms to try and win the disc back off of the number 14, who's the base. There's also pickups, not on the correct number. That is Lisa Sellis, of course. The unit of a player, as Robin Fennig might call her, a meat and potatoes kind of gal, joining the front line of this sort of poachy, saggy defensive look. Barnes, far sideline. Avoids throwing the huck to the same third, has Lindroot underneath instead. And that's a lovely throw out into the space, tracked down gorgeously by the number 22, Charlotte Ellis.
Such finesse on that throw, a beautiful touch into a player who was well and truly by themselves with such a good amount of time to catch that disc. So that's a better look from Iceni as they level it now. 2 apiece.
Yes, indeed. They have a disciplined calling structure. Jenna Thompson is not using a clipboard, just using her memory alone to select the players out here on the field. We have a lovely lineup. Disc in hand is Hannah Brew, originally of Brighton Ultimate, played for the Panthers side, University of Brighton. Actually the second team in that region in terms of university. Mohawks of Sussex tend to be more dominant in that region. Joined by Amelia Kenneth, already mentioned her, the Eurostar. Karina Cooper in the, look out for the iconic green cap. She's not too far from you in her original location, Hillary. Can you guess where she's from?
I'm going to say New Zealand.
Yeah, you got it. She's a Kiwi, one of the captains of this outfit. Really capable thrower and a hilarious person. She often fills out roster information with things like cat therapist as her occupation. So, Gentle off to the races. Mr. Hoffman puts up another big biscuit. It's going to be a little bit too far, though, for Ella Krumhik to pull out of the sky. I think that one was. Although, getting a closer look at the number 19 on the back, I think that might be Katharina Meisel. If you know, please do get in touch with us. I'm at Discal31 on all social media platforms. And Hillary can only be found on Insta. What's your handle, dude?
I can be found elsewhere, but you have to be MI5, I think, to find me.
Okay, well, if we have any people who work for any of the intelligence services and you want to text Hillary directly, please feel free to put your job on the line to do so. Randy Burns.
DM me. Contact me.
Slide into those DMs.
Slide away.
Burns with a high release to Cooper. Over to Rebecca Jones. Simply the Bex is her Insta handle. One of the captains of my own home university side, Kent, touched this. And actually from down the road, her mum lives down the road from me. I have a lot of personal connections to this Iceni lot. They're all my peers. So I shall try and not bore you all with that as we see the disc tip out of the open palm of Randy Burns. Also plays a bit of soccer. When she lived in Korea, she played some men's soccer, sneaking into the open play, just at recreational level for funsies, but she's very rapid. Look out for her. So Gentle on the disc, looking to engage Meisel. Yeah, that is definitely Katharina Meisel, that number 19 shirt. Oh, Amelia Kenneth trying to steal the disc literally out of the hands of Charlotte Peters. Getting a wee bit hungry. Pick call downfield, as you see Ina Lanklet coming in. And another look at the back of the feisty defender, Amelia Kenneth, who did try and snag the disc literally out of her matchup's hands.
That's one way to try and get it, but it's not going to work.
Yeah, you can't just take it out of someone's hand. You have to stop them from throwing it in some sort of hand blocky fashion. Or a foot block. I have to say I saw one of the best foot blocks I've ever seen this season, which came out of one of the USA women's under-24 players. Did you manage to catch that one, Hilary?
I did manage to catch those under-24 finals games.
Ah, well, there was a foot block earlier on in the tournament from Samia Ismail that if you hunt on social media for it, it's worth it.
Yeah.
So worth it.
There has been some great highlights this tournament as well, and we saw a fantastic foot block yesterday from, I think it was Cosmic Girls, if my memory serves me correct. But I mean, watch out this afternoon, this evening for the day 2 of the highlights reel found on ulti.tv and EUCF.
On the EUF YouTube page.
Indeed.
The European Ultimate Federation, although they have 2 YouTube channels technically, because they just can't get enough of that sweet, sweet YouTube action, which of course this game is being broadcast on. If you are on board, do get in touch with us though on those social media handles. As we see, Iceni channel towards the end zone. Amelia Kenneth on the underneath, but very close, nearly the travel from Becca Jones. Karina Cooper looking at the upfield, has the veteran Gainey available, who she takes. Gains some yards, as it were, to excuse the pun. Kenneth now earned herself the title Rapidash when she played at the under-24 level for the women's team. Jones in the end zone, goes up, reads it well. Nice, strong reception. Iceni get that break back and put us on serve.
It could have gone either way. That disc went up and it was floating just at the top. It's one of those discs that, with a fantastic receiver and a fantastic defender underneath, it can be, you know, a 50-50 play. But such confidence from Iceni, and just they read the disc, and what you noticed was she reset her position. She saw the disc was coming in, and instead of standing right underneath it, she pulled back a little bit, which does, you know, cause room for the defender to sweep in. But we just see this replay. You watch it go up. She's reading it, and she adjusts her play to get that down.
And that is something that the defender doesn't do keenly. I have to say, shout out to Iceni for developing Becca Jones. She joined them as a young athletic rookie, which is sort of the type that Iceni like to look for and take under their wings. They'd rather have someone who's very athletic and teach them their systems and their styles, rather than necessarily someone who's maybe got a couple more years experience but doesn't have the same powerful athleticism that they like to run through. And yeah, they've done a really good job of bringing Jones and giving her that high level experience as we try and get this pull fielded. It's landed very short out of bounds before even our cameraman Milan, who's given us a great little hello there. Shout out to all our ulti.tv crew for keeping us running this wall-to-wall coverage all weekend long. Oh, nearly a run through with a grab for Kim Isaac, but just enough pressure pulled on the back of Lisa Sellis. Kwan on the disc, finds on. I believe that is, it is indeed Sitsa Ong, who's wearing the wrong number compared to our roster sheet. Miscalled her before, played for the under-24 women's side. Isaac fakes high, releases low to Sharman, who tumbles to the floor, loses it in front of Sophie Wharton, but just bounces off her fingertips. Defensive powerhouse Wharton, known for her layouts. This gets the better of her on that occasion, so Sellis to pick up. Has a reset level, immediately what it looks for. Jinking and jerking across the field, knows. Back to Sellis. It's going to have to lay out, but can't quite generate the power to launch herself at the floor and the disc. Kwan, centre of the field. Her sister playing for Dublin Gravity. She's here with Iceni. Fun fact, the two sisters have never actually faced off on an ultimate field, despite both playing in the same region at a very high level.
That is an incredible feat, given that so often we see the same teams facing off at such a high level in a tournament.
Indeed, and also with national representation for both of them, but a bit of jinking back and forth for Sophie Walson, and this time secures the catch with no mistakes. Iceni go up ahead, 2 breaks now. 1 evened out by Gentle's ladies opener, but they lead the charge 4-2.
Yeah, Iceni just have a little bit more confidence at the moment in their defensive play. They've got that heads up. They're very aggressive on their defense, and I think that's what's making it count now. They came out initially, you know, feeling a little slower, and Gentle Ladies just punished them in that very first point. They completely trapped them in the end zone line. But now they've kind of flipped the table and they are giving it back right to them. So well done to Iceni for recovering and switching on their game.
So talk us through the games this morning. Who did these 2 teams face up against that's definitely kept them out of contention?
So Iceni played off against Heidelberg this morning. They lost 13-10 to that side. Now, we know that Heidelberg has actually managed to cause an upset with the CUSB Shout team yesterday. They managed to beat them, and that was probably the upset of the day that really shocked the Italian side. So they're a hot team to be watching if you can, if they make it onto the stream at all.
Oh, they did. They made it on yesterday and put quite a flat performance out against 3SB. I have to correct my earlier error. On that game, I thought 3SB had played 1 game fewer, but they just had more legs. Wanted it that little bit extra. But this pool, the only one that's really gone wide open. As you see, that throw go far too high. Gronya McCarthy not playing with the Dublin Gravity Wems and joining her gold medal winning national teammate, sticking true to Iceni here. It's been an import from the Emerald Isle for a couple seasons. Sharman now launches it towards Amelia Kenneth, who catches up with it, doesn't need to make a layout play at all, just reaches the arms in front and snags the disc for a 3rd break of score.
That rundown is formidable. What a fast player and really tough thing to defend against. It's so exciting to see when you have receivers like that on the field and all you want to do is huck it long, but you have such confidence being able to put those discs out, know that the player will run it down with 100% pace at full pelt. Really makes a difference for the defending side as well. You know, when you come towards a disc and if you start to slow down just to catch it, it gives that defender an opportunity to swoop in, but Iceni don't give any option like that. So we see a timeout called, and I'm assuming based on the score it would have been Gentle Ladies. It's often, you know, the team that's down that's calling the timeout, so I think that's the case.
Yeah, I think that's probably, I would, without also seeing who called the timeout, the scorekeepers will know on the far side of the field because it is their formal job to know these things, whereas it's also our formal job, but it counts less because we don't have to keep track of how many timeouts either side has. Because, of course, if you call an extra one that you don't have, you lose 2 beats of the stall count, which is a fun way to get stalled out. Not. But, yeah, in terms of Gentle, they really need to stop the momentum that Iceni are starting to generate. Just take that moment to refocus themselves. Just chill out. They do have the firepower to throw these big shots, but at the moment, the physicality of the Iceni side seems to be what's getting the best of them.
Yeah, Iceni are not just like aggressive in their, and I say aggressive in their nature, not in the fact that like there might be a little brushing here and there. I mean, we did see some some discs that were trying to be ripped out of the hands, but I think what they're doing is they're just really ferocious, particularly on defense. They're not letting anything through. They're playing really tight match defense, applying so much pressure, and it's forcing the Gentle Ladies to have to look for the 3rd or 4th options that are coming downfield, not, you know, giving away any of those reset dumps. And that's smart play in this type of game where you're shutting down the key throwers and trying to stop that flow.
And stopping flow is obviously what it's all about. Certainly nice to see teams coming out with that aggression. I think It's one of the things about the women's division. Sometimes people accuse teams of being too aggressive, and maybe falling into some stereotypes and tropes about what female athletes should or shouldn't be, but nothing wrong with being aggressive. But that is a beautiful aggressive shot into the deep space by Meisel, but unfortunately the Austrian doesn't seem to have connected psychologically with the cutters downfield. No one knew what she had envisaged, unfortunately.
It is sometimes a bit of a mind game on field when you're trying to figure out what your handler wants, vice versa, what your cutter is trying to shape up.
So Iceni, another opportunity for a break. They are really taking charge of this game right now. Lindroth puts it out in front of Thompson, has Sharman off to the races immediately. Sharman knows what Thompson likes to put. Big player, highly decorated. Sharman has been playing with them all season long. A new American import. Sutzer doesn't manage to get free, and the stall out happens. Lindroth's cut came a little too late. And there you see the crucial error. The dump not able to jig back and forth and doesn't clear out quite soon enough to allow the high stall reset.
Fantastic defensive play there from Gentle Ladies. But they're going to have to work their way out of this danger zone up against a loose Iceni zone as well.
Well, as you say, it is a loose cup, which did allow Meisel the ability to throw that huck over it. You see at the back set, just behind the players upfield, the likes of Sharman, Lindroth. And now it seems to be, no, it looks like a melt to match actually. Spot on that fast side, Charlotte Ellis. Coming out, nice play in movement and momentum. That is a delicious huck just shy of the goal line. Pops it in though into the path of Perrine de Asp. That's such a nice long shot. This is the key for this Gentle Ladies side. If they can unlock that momentum on either sideline, it's just bish, bash, bosh. Score.
Brilliant shot downfield. That's more like the Gentle Ladies that we saw earlier. They love putting it long, and I really like this type of play in these conditions. It's pretty still. Like, I say this, touch wood, because we did feel the wind earlier on. But, you know, it is really nice. The temperature is quite mild. Like, it's not too hot. Like, the conditions are really good. It's a little, you know, humid and moist and damp. And the bugs, I can't see them at the moment, no, but we know they're around.
Let's not jinx it. Let's not talk about the flying ant clouds that have been bothering us here in the booth all weekend long. That's why I say weekend. We are only Saturday. It's a 3-dayer. This one started yesterday on the Friday. People having to take a little sniffle of annual leave or call in sick at work. Not that anyone would do that, of course. They wouldn't, you know, put their colleagues in that position. But it's, yeah, been beautiful conditions here. Can you, Hilary, say for me, conditions are perfect, just for reference?
Conditions are perfect.
It is slightly different from the Kiwis.
I was wondering where you're going with that.
Because it's business time, my friend. It's business time. Going to business. But unfortunately not able to come up with the goods. Rebecca Jones with the whale tattoo on the underside of her right arm. See if you can get a glance of that. Played for the UCSD Psychos team when she did her year in the States at university. Picked up a couple moves from that side that, of course, off the back of partly Dana Elimelech, managed to put themselves to a college championship, but that is a champion of a reception.
A huge moment for Gentle Ladies. Way to bring that back to Iceni side. A massive take. You can't deny that is such a powerful shot. They love those huge hucks into the end zone. They look so good. And there's always a receiver down there waiting to get it with two Iceni defenders underfoot.
I tell you what, Hilary. You put me in my place there. My energy was definitely low for how awesome that throw was. The big inside-out backhand from Lisa Sellis. out into the space. 2 defenders chasing it, but it just hits the picture perfect spot. So I, in honour of that throw, am going to stand my butt up. I'm going to abandon my lunch that I've been trying to snaffle a couple of moments of. It's a hard life, you know, watching Ultimate Frisbee, being here in Carole.
Oh, Hannah.
My heart bleeds for myself.
I know, you've been doing an incredible job, you know, back-to-back games and having, you know, a roller coaster of emotions watching what could have been the most epic upset today.
Oh goodness, yeah, that. Well, no, I mean it's bad skip with a fate. Oh no, I'm not gonna. No, I just gave the result away. That's awkward. Anyway, moving
Spoilers,
on.
come on.
Game at hand. Of course, you know, if you're watching this game, I'm sure you will have already purchased your fancy subscription and watched everything on dual screen. Oh, nice snag for Fiona Kwan out of the air. Makes it look very picture perfect in those pink dazzling socks, matching the peachy boots. Oh, look at the continuation. A little bit of a holster there from Maya Lindroot. Didn't like the look of the shape that Sophie Wharton was making in the end zone, but Fiona Kwan hits the break side, and that's another goal for Iceni. They maintain the lead. Don't go down any breaks versus Gentle Ladies after that. 4 unanswered points earlier on this half.
That's a brilliant look there from Iceni. I really liked that momentum, but also the way that they were moving through their players, but moving through Kwan as well. She was receiving every second disc and she was quite a pivotal player, but they were just looking for those short dump cuts until they found that break opportunity into space, and that's all that it's all that needs to happen really. Just wait for that right moment.
And the scorer there, we've had some contact from the fans watching at home. A shout out from Mr. Thomas Jackson, who's enjoying the coverage and says, "Go Sophie." A teammate from Thundering Herd, which is the mixed team that Sophie Wharton occasionally plays with when she's not pulling duty for the Iceni outfit. A player who preferences the women's division. Nothing wrong with that. As they flock in front of our booth. So a D-line for Iceni. Can they sneak another break into this first half? Good fielding of the ball, putting the disc in the center of the field, churning yards under Ella Kromhik. Oh, and some dazzling footwork from the number 23, Da Hasp. This is really good work up this near sideline. Meisel thinks about putting it in front, doesn't like the channel, turns and swings. Can they open up the break space? Oh yes they can, a beautiful release point. But that one might be a wee bit big. No, easy stuff. Oh, and that's a lovely inside, nearly manages to redeem it. Such a great release point from Ella Kromhik, trying to connect with the player, borrowing perhaps her own shirt. 2 number 19s on the field, but Iceni are going to overshoot Amelia Kenneth. You can see the head goes down, the frustration visible on the young Euro star. She's such a dedicated athlete, takes everything very seriously. Which is not a bad thing, it's just different to the way some people play Ultimate. Stoppage on the field will bring us back. Ella Kromhik with the disc in hand. Looks to be some kind of pit call. The lover of the Czech Republic in the number 19 for Iceni, perhaps getting lost in the stack, trying to catch up with her defensive matchup. Nice cover from Randy Burns, doesn't quite manage to smother Peters. Reset available for Mayans. Puts up the 2 19s, don't connect again, but Lancriet scoops it up. Another inside flick release. That one sits and hangs though, and it's lovely and gorgeous. Scooped up by Perrine de Hasp.
When the Gentle Ladies play, they like to put a beautiful weight on that disc, and they have been able to put it out so nicely. Like it's not a bullet. It's really nicely, placed. Like it just has that perfect speed, enough time for a player to run onto it.
I have to say, the Gentle Ladies might have put themselves out of contention of the top spots and going into semis yesterday. but I have to give them some credit. They're not a bad side at all. They definitely deserve to be here. I think perhaps it's just the consistency. They have a lot of skills. They're throwing some really, really nice stuff, but it's just that there's too many errors that are unforced. And I'm sure as they continue together as a team and work on those connections, it'll all come good. But maybe next season for those medals, who knows?
Well, unfortunately, it will have to be next season for them to get any sort of medal involved to take away in their suitcase. I mean, they came here rightfully so. They qualified in ECR South, beating losing to Mainzelmansion in the finals, but coming second. So we know they're a good team. They have the skills.
And of course, Mainzelmansion have also had a tricky time of it. Two sudden death, one sudden death game, but they came back against Yaka on this not this very field, sorry, the one in front of this field. I'm losing my mind. There's been so much amazing action. Oh my goodness, look at that play from Claire Sharman. No concern for her body whatsoever. That was mad.
I think Thompson was playing Mackline here as we see her. Looked like she tipped it away.
Oh, heartbreaker. That's a bit of NFL style there. Just trying to tippy-toe it in. Sharman with the huge attempt. If that had been caught, highlight reel for sure, mate. That was a zesty release. You saw how much she leaned back when she released it. An overshoot again. At the moment, these two sides trading turns. Maya Lindroot sliding to the floor. The young Swede, currently in London for an internship, studying civil engineering around Thompson. Kwan opens up that break side again, exploding to Lucy Barnes this time. And it's a score for Iceni, 7-4.
Brilliant look there from Kwan. She has great eyesight on the field. She knows where all these players are. She waits for that opportunity to come through because that cut was still generating as she had that disc in hand. But it's just the telltale signs of an experienced player who's able to just hold it and wait for that right opportunity. You know, you could have taken another pass there, but why do that when you can find that opening coming? You just see this replay. Dishes back to Thompson. Thompson centers back to Kwan, and she just sees that opening.
So we have a discrepancy in our scorekeepers to say that it is 6-4, and we're keeping our own stats here. I believe it is 7-5, not 4-6 or 6-4 even. So perhaps we can convince someone to communicate with the scorekeepers, and we can reference and see who's got what. Perhaps something going awry. We'll watch this one back. We're going to send our sideline reporter Lolo to go and check it. Oh, we've communicated successfully. After a brief interlude there where we check things with our sideline here. Don't know if our mics picked up any of our chats. The lovely Anna Rydlova and Sitsa Ong in front of us from Iceni. We're not going to get them on the stream because we're back in action, but the score has been rectified to exactly what we thought it was, 7-5.
I thought I'd messed up for a second there, Hannah.
Oh, believe in yourself. Until the scorekeeper comes and says, you wrong, dude. Believe in yourself. Although I've been wrong occasionally on that one. Most normally when it comes to the Italian women, usually. But currently in front of us, the gentle ladies of Belgium, plus a cheeky little Austrian in the form of the woman with the disc right now, Katharina Meisel. Nice exposure of this Iceni zone. Excuse me, my Fanta making an appearance on the stream. Peters, lofty release like that. This is nice, good flow. Opens up that break side that Iceni have exposed so well. What a nice little piece of offense for the ladies of Belgium.
You know, when they have the disc and they find that groove. They look so good. It's such a switch when they throw it away. You think, oh, why would they do that? But when they do things like this, they find those moments, those glory shots, across the field into that fat side of the end zone.
And this is exactly my point. It's the lack of consistency for the Belgian ladies. However, I'm not going to say any disrespect to them because they have a pretty small women's program, just generally. They had their first ever under-24 women's team that was able to go out to Heidelberg earlier this year. These players don't get the same level of opportunities to scrimmage against opponents, have those in-game situations. Quite comparative to Iceni, really. That's the complete opposite. They live in the ultimate sinkhole of talent that is London. You've got so many programs coming out of their representation. Actually, that'll be a metric for us to look at, Hilary. Which city in Europe is most well represented at this championship finals event? We'll get our researching wizards on that one as Iceni work it around the back in the upfield space. Good giving and going. Rosie Foley there. Another lady from down under involved in this game, but there you see Celis getting one back on Kim Isaac.
Brilliant heads up block there. Great field awareness. That little poach off your player can play dividends when you just give yourself that space.
Oh, and a nice grind to that side. Gets in front of Thompson's poach and goes to work very effectively, and that is a break of score for Belgium's ladies.
It
and
is.
We are back on level. My oh my, they've crept up gentle, putting it together and taking Iceni down.
They sort of confused us a little bit. Their play is so bipolar in a way that, they're so strong in offense, and then in other times they're sort of throwing some weird things, and that's why, I think this sort of comeback has shocked us a little bit. It snuck up on us. I'm not surprised by it with the way that they've been playing, but, to their admiration, they've done a really good job of doing so. And I think if they can just close in and hone in on some of those shots and tighten up some of the things that they're doing themselves, like their own unforced errors, they could actually take this game out quite convincingly.
And you know what we have, Hilary?
What do we have?
We have a Galaxy point.
Yes!
Load the graphics, please, Lolo. Excellent stuff. Galaxy point on our hands. Will we get it matched with a universe? Hilary?
I would hope so. I love a universe point, and you've just come off the back of a universe point.
I have. It was a mosh, and we'll see what happens here. There's not that much on the line. No advancing to gold medals. This is more about your placement in the midsection of the table at the end of this championship finals. Not for medals, but certainly for glory and pride. Gronya McCarthy shoots onto the upfield. Ruth Kilsby sporting an upside down visory thingy. I don't know what the headgear is. Either way, it's a bit swaggerlicious. McCarthy with the more traditional cap. Pope trying to get free up line, leaves it a little bit too late, and the disc goes awry, just dribbles off of her fingertips.
Very strong defense from the Belgian side. They look really good shutting down the Iceni players, and they call a timeout. So, will this be a turnout though? We know that this is a hot favourite of our colleague Benji Rees. When timeouts are called, he does sort of hypothesize, and he has been proven many times before that a team will set up and often turn it over, because it does give you, as a defending team, an advantage to be able to set up and see the structure of the opposing team's play.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I'm with Benji on this one. It's I'm a big fan of calling it the turnout, as we see a little sneaky bit of the game on the far side. We've got Dublin Gravity, who are as yet undefeated in this tournament, I believe, versus Cosmo and Friends, as I keep calling them, because they've made smart use of the full 5 pickups allowed between the championships starting, and finishing events. Fun rules fact for you, Hilary. We've been talking a lot about the pickups rule, but actually you are between the ECUQ, so the qualifying events for the regional events, you are like, that is when your roster lock-in rules begin. So you can't just have someone for your qualifier, shove new people on for regionals, and then shove more people on for finals. You actually ought to. It's perhaps not the most enforced rule in the books, but thems are technically the rules. And Ultimate being a self-officiated and spirit of the gamey type sport, is all about knowing the rules and applying them correctly. So there you go, a bit of deep rules knowledge for you, fresh off the palm of Rafi Vasudevan this morning. So back in the action here after that timeout, and we see exactly a turnout. Hilary, you were right. Brynja McCarthy looks towards the end zone, takes a little slip, but just squeezes it past the laying out form of Lisa Sellis, who puts her face in the dirt. And Kat Pope saunters off to the other side of the end zone to celebrate taking half.
It's a really tough position for Gentle Ladies to be in, having gotten that incredible block and taking, the disc off Iceni. They started out in offense, and so they got what they sort of were hoping to get. They wanted to take half.
But we are still on serve. So it's not over for Gentle. They will come out on offense in the second half here. So we're still sitting in a relatively cool rhythm here as we advance into the second half of this game. Sneaky scenes from our pole cam around the rest of the field. We're going to take a short break to rehydrate during this halftime, but we'll be back with the second half of this matchup real soon.
Next slip.
Welcome back to this women's pool play matchup between Gentle Ladies of Belgium and Iceni of Great Britain. Mysel in the centre of the field for Gentle. We are on serve as Gentle just slowly ticked away, nibbled at Iceni's lead, putting us back on serve here as they go towards the end zone patiently. Moving it between the handler set. Mysel going up line, trying to bounce back. Eventually manages to lose Fiona Kwan just on the goal line for the hold for Gentle.
A great way to start the second half. Get that point in off the back of a turnover and letting Iceni score against you. So it's still a bit of a nail biter, and I'm enjoying that. During that halftime break, Hannah and I were just discussing how, it's so good to see these teams matched up so well and playing sort of quite a good game now. And I think that's just a reflection of how far women's ultimate has gone in the last few years. You know, we saw back a few years ago, they were struggling, EUCF was struggling to even field enough teams to field the tournament. And now we're getting, you know, pushback saying we want more women's teams being able to qualify. You know, we want more of that competition. And I think it's really healthy to see this field grow and to see so much more competition and competitiveness and athleticism. Like, it's just so incredible how much it's developed through these years.
And that is testament to all of those community members who've been really pushing, not just to, oh, we'd like a few women to play so, you know, the dudes can play mixed that maybe don't make the open sides, but also just women's ultimate purely for its own self, as we see Catherine Gainey throw an absolute biscuit, a diamond of a backhand, but it can't be snaffled up just a little bit too far for Becca Jones to reel in, but that was an oil painting. See the momentum there. Gainey, one of the veterans of this Iceni squad that's got plenty of new faces. Oh, cheeky inside in live action from Gentle Ladies, sets up the momentum play. They're just better at the moment than Iceni at throwing whilst on the trot. Thinks about it, does Nurse. I believe she played for the national side back in Hungary and scoops herself up a point on the board for her side. Gentle Ladies with a break to put themselves in front once more.
That's 2 points in a row for Gentle Ladies, and a great way to start, if not the best way they could have possibly started out against Iceni. You know, Iceni must be feeling that right now, thinking we had this in the bag early on in the game when they had a 3-point lead. We thought that, you know, this might have been the point where the team just took it away. Sometimes you have those those moments in a game where you're like, this is it. It's, you know, it kind of just scoots away from you. But Gentle Ladies have done a fantastic job of staying within that grasp and holding on to this game. They both have control. I couldn't call, you know, either side, you know, has one thing better than the other.
Well, at the moment, it is Gentle who are just looking that little bit slicker. You know, it's the aggressive, athletic defense of Iceni is putting the pressure on, piling it on very heavily, but Iceni finding the shots and just not quite connecting with each other. Perhaps maybe too few regular connections. See that coach Jackie Lynn Verrills on the sideline, former standout player. I remember 2 years ago when they were in the final, took silver here against Atletico of Finland. Of course, they're not present this time. The likes of Essi Inkanen and Raupunen are all playing with that mixed division, sort of mixed side, and that's an absolute gorgeous, expansive throw. Charlotte Peters on the back end of it, but Ine Lankret with the visionary backhand, and that's 3 points on the trot for Belgium. 2 breaks in a row.
Belgium are just punishing Iceni for all of their mistakes and completely dominating this second half. Like, we're only, you know, 5 minutes in and already they've got 3 points on the board. Let's just watch this play again, because there was just incredible eyesight to get that disc out into space. To be able to recognize you've got a cutter there who's ready and waiting for that disc. And that was Peters getting the score.
Yeah, Lankriet's got her binoculars on, receives the dump from Rebruck, and immediately just uses that expansive vision to get a second break on the bounce. So 10-8 the scoreline. Gentle taking charge after the first half. Can they snag a win here and put themselves in a bit of a higher position? They've yet to take a win. Points difference of -21 in this pool. The final game, can they equal the record with Iceni? The head-to-head, actually, they cannot come anywhere other than bottom, because of course in the having the same losses win record as Iceni. It will be on a head-to-head matchup, and of course, actually no, I take it back. What am I talking about? Put my brain back in, re-engage. If they win this game, they put themselves 4th versus 5th, because they have the same record and the head-to-head will be in their favour. I say these things sometimes, Hilary, and sometimes they're completely wrong. But we recovered. Brew on the disc. Finds Gainey this side, opens up the arm once more, has Rapidash underneath it. Amelia Kenneth opens up those powerful quadriceps and snaffles the disc. Doesn't look very happy about it. She's just doing her job.
You don't need to smile to score, Hannah. You don't need to be happy. You just need to be committed to that disc, and she certainly was. Kenneth is such a sprinty, speedy player. You know, you just got to be confident with those throws, and getting that out to her is a surefire bet. Interestingly now, they've got, I hadn't seen this before, but they have their coach now out on field. I hadn't been seeing this before, or somebody who's wearing a coach kit calling the line.
So that is Jacqueline Verrills, the Iceni coach kit, if you're referring to that. That is Jacqueline Verrills, who, as I say, I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, she actually was in the silver medalist Iceni side. They were on a 4-year program, whereas Iceni, back in Carole last time, where they were keeping their eyes on world clubs in Ohio. And a couple of their roster, basically because I think part of that campaign was to get a gold medal here in Venice, and they fell short, didn't quite make it. They got bested in a fairly tight game against Atletico of Finland. Oh, very nice pick up from Lancria there. He's going to launch it down the sideline. Conservation of greatness. What a shame. But Iceni sort of had that rebuild after a couple of players scurried away. Verrills was a key component of Iceni in that season and seasons of past. She's played for so many years, but I mentioned that Thompson gives back to the Ultimate Community Coaches GB sides. Oh, what on earth was that kind of block? Was that an elbow block? Lancreate going to work, having thrown the turnover. Just having a little chat with Claire Sharman. Let's watch that one back. Uncontested foul. She just bumped a little bit too hard into Claire Sharman's shoulder. But all still fine, still running around with the same voracious speed and hunger for the disc. Kwang punches at Lucy Barnes, the economics lecturer, I believe at UCL. Kenneth shoots it low, tumbling to the ground, goes fellow Eurostar Maya Lindroot, but can't scoop that one up. Talked about the highlight-worthy foot block of Samia Ismail from under-24s. Tell you what, Lindroot had a posterizing grab against Fury Ultimate on the Eurostars tour. Huge reception coming out of the Swedish women's scene. Nice work from Amelia Kenneth, though, piling on the pressure on the shoulders of Eva Rebrück. Gaining the disc back for the players in white. Randy Burns finds Kat Gainey. Negative yards, happy. Ooh, foul called there on the block from Peters. We'll have a quick chat about it. There's lots of nodding, though, so it's uncontested. That was a power block for sure. Got too much of the hand, though. Watch that one back. Oh, just like it, keeping it off of our screen. But the one-woman highlight rule, Amelia Kenneth pops it. And there's a big put, and there we see, trademark Lindroot grab. I talked about the one she had over the pack against Fury Ultimate back in San Francisco. But that was a lovely, lovely grab from the young Swede, and we level it back up. Iceni break back, 10 apiece.
A clutch moment for Iceni. They'll be happy about their performance. A few turnovers, so not, the best hold there, but they were able to take back control of that disc and level it now.
Yeah, it was scrappy, but it was enough.
Yeah. So now what's going to happen is Iceni are going to be coming out on defense. They're going to be, you know, full of this energy that they've just broken Belgium again. 2 goals in a row. They were able to level it. The ladies in green, they're going to have to work incredibly hard to fight and hold this sort of, you know, this win or this lead that they've potentially got now against a side that has not just skill but experience and maturity on field.
I've just realised something, Hilary.
Yes, Hannah.
As we were placed on screen, which is not my favourite place to be, you know, face for radio and all that, but we're wearing green. Does that mean we have to support Gentle? But thank you ever so much to the organisation who've hooked up our media crew with wonderful fetching green shirts. They're very dashing. Our media volunteer's favourite colour. Unfortunately, he's got one of the gold volunteer shirts. Shout out to Jamie Graham, who has been bringing us coffee doggedly and beer throughout the entirety of this tournament thus far. But look at the movement of Gentle. Commentators' curses, of course, as soon as I say it, they start to get a bit stifled. Randy Burns coming in huge. 2 players press up positioning over each other as they regain their feet. Great attack to get the block. And now, oh, what a scoop. Randy Burns gets the block and then redeems the throw. Maya Lindroot far side. Looks for Wharton, a little bit late. Eventually chooses to throw up line. Kenneth coming back. Has so much separation that she can have time and space to catch the lofty disc. Lindroot in the end zone, and once again they throw the big ball to the Swede. The big meaty ball.
Iceni are going on a huge run here. First it was Gentle Ladies coming back, and now Iceni. You know, they're just playing with us. We can't really tell who's going to win, who's going to take this out top. But, you know, there's a finite amount of time in this game, and it'll be the final team that can really hold strong.
Yeah, toying with our emotions as we see a replay of Randy Burns getting all over the floor, redeeming the errant throw from Thompson over the shoulder of the mark. So much time and space. Amelia Kenneth there. But at the moment, with obviously time ticking away, do you reckon we're going to see this one go to 15?
I think we've got 61 minutes on the clock. I think, yeah. I'd comfortably say it'll probably go there, unless they continue with these really long points.
Yes, indeed. If we continue with the, I'm going to have to say it, the error-ridden possessions for both sides, trading in turnovers as well as in scores. It could be a long one, but Katharina Meisel, the friend from Austria, joining these Gentle Ladies. I think Lisa Sellis is actually also not a Gentle by trade, but joining, I heard that rumour. Peters. Nice movement across to Meisel. Calm and patient, as I believe Iceni are putting on. Force middle to try and stop those uplines. Oh, what a sensation of a release that disc was. Lancrier surveys the option, throws a saucy break around, immediately tosses from Peters to the end zone, and a nice score. They stem the bleeding.
That's looking good now for Gentle Ladies with a solid hold. But a big fight now on defense coming up against the Iceni offense.
Yes, they are trading up our Gentle Ladies. They are leading this charge. If it just continues as we are, they will take the win and have the 4th spot. Looking at our championship bracket, neither teams will end up in semi-finals, but can play for those lower spots. As we see a beautiful little highlight reel. A little tantalizer for staying tuned to this live stream. Hillary, what do we have up next?
Up next, we have the men's semi-finals. So we've got a huge showdown from the Great British teams. Clapham Ultimate versus Chevron Action Flash. Chevy will be reeling after their Universe Point win against Bad Skid, and we'll have Cuz Lafota versus Real 5 on the other field.
So excitement in front of us for this arguably like slightly less meaningful game for the overall tournament standings, but definitely meaningful to all the players as they battle it out here on the field. Gentle in the lead, trading up, having earned themselves a couple more breaks against Iceni, but Iceni are going to charge it deep. Randy Burns under it. Can she explode out the blocks? Oh my goodness, that was such a great layout grab for Randy Burns. My heart be still.
That was so hot, Hannah. I had to put my sunglasses on. A phenomenal layout. Incredible chase to catch that disc and then just extend yourself for the score.
Well, the action is hotting up here as the little bit of focusing from the camera there. Surely that sizzling heat burns, the shimmering across the view on the screen. What a play. Bit of an overthrow perhaps from Karina Cooper, but Randy Burns with the huge one-arm stretch layout for the score. So Iceni in front. I said that Gentle were trading up. I was incorrect. I've made a few errors in this game. It's getting into the intense emotional stages.
You've had a very long day, Hannah. You've been working back to back, and you know you can be forgiven for these minor mistakes as long as you adjust them. It's fine. We've got Iceni in the lead at the moment, 12-11.
So that means we're back on serve. Yes, good. Because it was a break to start from Gentle. Let's see if they can punch this one in and trade us like the merchants of Venice here in Carole. Meisel putting a lot of duty. I'll create this near side just in front of our booth. Sort of trying to be like, hello, I'm in space, please throw it at me. But Jenna Thompson is lurking right next to her. We've melted to match by the looks of it. Meisel surveys the field. Oh, and what a throw that is, but can she adjust? No, just sails over the shoulder. The 219 shirts can't connect. Ella Klumhik just a little bit unaware. Difficult huck to execute though, that same third of the hot dog.
Sorry, Hannah?
Okay, there's a concept of not throwing a huck to the person in the same third of the field as you are vertically.
Yes.
A bit like,
I'm familiar with that.
Yes, imagine that the pitch, this is how it's described, and I'm a visual learner. So imagine that the field, as we see that disc get a little bit further than Charlotte Ellis would have hoped. A little gasp of air there coming out of Maya Lindrut's face. Imagine there's a giant hot dog on the field, so it's difficult to connect in the same third. Oh, but that's a nice one. Not quite the same distance of yardage. Find in Eva Rebrick. And that is a hold for Gentle as we approach the very last breaths of this game. 67 minutes have expired. So 23 remain. No, not 23, 13. Another error for me to add to my tally. But it's all good. Because
I'm not counting.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just, you know, I hold myself to a high standard of account here, Hillary. I try.
As you should, Hannah Pendlebury.
But at the moment, this is, yeah, it's becoming quite the game. So, but in terms of, to finish my metaphor, imagine that there's a giant hot dog on the field, and each part of the hot dog represents 1/3. So you've got a piece of bun either side, the sausage in the middle. That's the visual metaphor for explaining exactly what you mean. Because you say, you know, same third. Well, surely you're going to throw a huck from 1/3 of the pitch, the other splitting it. Because you're going to try and throw it, you know, more than 1/3 of the field. Otherwise, is it really a huck?
I see what you're saying. I understand.
Unless, of course, it's
hot dog.
Unless, of course, it's a huck into the wind, in which case sometimes they can come back and be behind you by a third. So, Emilia Kenneth, centre of the field, the ferocious athlete who is unimpressed by anything less than the best of success. Droinia McCarthy, the Irishwoman, finds a sneaky end zone ninja in the form of Beckett Jones for the score. Donning the slightly short shorts. Iceni have recently become, I believe, one of the B Ultimate sponsored teams. Getting some swaggerlicious new kit. Congratulations also to Icenia, the first ever beach women's champions in the UK. They qualified for the Club Series Beach Championship sometime in May next season. They won that one by 1 point over Smog Ultimate after being 7-4 down.
Wow, that's a brilliant comeback from them.
It was indeed. Personally painful. I was playing for the other side.
Oh,
but
I was wondering, where was this going? Do pray, Hannah.
No, but it's fantastic. So we talked a lot about, in the early stages of this game, the history of Iceni. Icenia, clues in the name, it's some of the old roster who maybe have retired and then come back to the field or pitch, since beach isn't really played on fields. But wonderful to see those older roster players leading the charge. Oh, Fiona Kwan, definitely looking young and sprightly this afternoon, trying to get a run-through block on the first pass. We see Meisel with the disc. Loncrier tossing it back. Oh my goodness! Lay out block for Claire Sharman. What a feisty young player. But they can't capitalise. Try and hit Lindrup quickly. But woof! Claire Sharman.
Phenomenal layout. Just huge intercept.
Way up she goes. Katharina Meisel against the Iceni zone. On coming through to try and apply the cup pressure. Sagging off a little bit. Absolutely squeezing it through this channel. Barnes on the attack but doesn't have the space. That's a great rundown by Perrine de Haasp for the Gentle Ladies. They level us back up at 13. We're on serve. 2 points shy for either side of the win.
A great response from the Belgian side. That was an incredible intercept from the Iceni team. And just unfortunate that they weren't able to capitalize on that. You know, that's what we've seen all game. And it's not just them, it's both sides have thrown these errant throws that haven't quite come off perfectly well. You know, is it the case that it's late in the day? Is it the temperature? You know, there's always different things that sort of add to, you know, your performance and why you're not working to peak performance and doing your best. You just see these, you know, crazy moments of eliteness, and then you see the opposite.
It's definitely been a mixed bag, this game.
Yeah.
And that's funny because it's the women's division.
Dad jokes.
I know, it's terrible. It's terrible dad joke time. But yeah, this is all about getting the win. A better positioning will bring you what this does mean, actually, not coming fourth versus fifth. Pope looking for a hope upfield, finds one. Oh, Gainey has to lay it out, but it just bounces out of her palm. The fields have dried up after the showering of rain that descended upon these grassy surfaces in the last round of play. Celis with some pretty tight shorts. Going back and forth. Oh, nice find on the far side. Oh, but that's a disc gone awry for sure. Spanked down by Ruth Kilsby. And the disc back in the palms of Iceni. The break opportunity was squandered. Nice grab from Gráinne McCarthy. Reaches out, does Karina Cooper, the captain of this side, alongside Fiona Kwan. Oh, and is Kilsby, can she make bookends of it? Just shy of the goal line. She's going to have to go for the assist. Anna Rydlova of the Czech Republic available. The gloved hands make no mistakes. And Iceni convert their offense. No breaks this time and bring themselves within one of taking it.
Well, here we are, Hannah, almost at points cap. 15 points for Iceni, and that would give them the game. You asked earlier if we were going to make it here, and the points have just gone so much more quicker than the first half when they were just hounding each other with, you know, turnovers and just tight defense. So now we're going to see Iceni put probably what's their strongest line on the field to stop this Belgian side, get a turn and close it in for the win.
Well, it's first match point. The first one. Hilary, have we figured out what this means, winning this game, for the overall standings, advancing into the final part of the bracket?
So this means that, so this is either way, both of them actually have to play off tomorrow for the 9th place.
So this is all about placement in terms of advancing into the 9th place bracket. Gotcha. Well, an opportunity for Iceni to close it up. Out on the field. Zone look, and of course, who is at the front of it? The disc-hungry Claire Sharman, who got that layout D on the trap. But Belgium puncturing through it right now with relative ease. Lancreate back to Krumhik. You can see actually on these lovely green jerseys. Oh my goodness, what a snag out of the air that was, and a launch conservation of greatness. You can see with the gentle ladies, they have such lovely low pivot points, but sometimes these releases are just a wee bit too hasty. But yeah, you can see the perspiration on the backs of these lovely dark green jerseys as just Maya Lindroot runs it down. This is for the game and the goal. Claire Sharman's there. Iceni with the fast break after the turn. And that is it. Ultimate Fans sealed up 15-13. Gentle couldn't quite find the consistency to punch it in to keep us alive and bring us to Universe Point. Thoughts on that game, Hilary?
A mixed lolly bag full of sweetness and a few sour ones in there, but a great game from both sides. They fought it out and both gave each other a run for their own money, but Iceni just fully pulling out the showstopper at the end. A well-played game, and we're looking forward to the next semi-finals coming up in the men's.
Yes, indeed. Stick right here. Keep your eyes peeled to this stream, or glued to the stream, I guess. CUSB La Fotta. The gents from Bologna are warming up behind us. They'll be facing up against Real 5 of Russia, who surmounted Munich's MUC, caused an upset this morning. And that will be that side of the bracket. If you have a Fanseat subscription, of course you do, because you're an Ultimate fan, and why else would you, be here if you didn't love Ultimate? And perhaps you're new, but welcome. But Fanseat fans can also catch action from Clapham Ultimate versus Chevron Action Flash, the derby of Great Britain, the two big powerhouse teams. Stick with us. We'll bring you the latter stages of this spicy, spicy tournament. I've been Hannah Pendlebury for Hilary Holmes. We'll see you again very soon.
Alti.tv